Okay. Good morning, Deborah.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Get my fancy microphone here.
It sounds so much better.
That's what they say. Apparently, there's a whining jet sound. Jonathan came over yesterday and set it up, and all I could do is talk now.
Yeah, no more whining jets.
That's right. So I got to tell you guys something. I'm zoomed out.
Yeah, me too.
I did a panel with Zillow for an hour and a half on Wednesday, and that was kind of cool. Me and three other brokers, and they just asked us questions. I had an audience about 130 people. Yesterday, let me just go to my calendar real quick. Yesterday, well, we had Dr. Axon. Not very many people tuned in for that, but that guy, I think, is super sharp. I thought
He was amazing. I'm going to go see him.
Jonathan and I did some YouTube filming yesterday. I had a Zoom call with my Zillow guy, which I'll give you some of those results. We did a Happy Agent podcast with Jackie Stone yesterday. And then we had a Zillow team training on Zoom. I mean, so right there, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours on film. And then last night was fun. I went to dinner with Aaron Davis and Amy Gregory and Mike LaRosa from Paramount Title. And they're just really sharp people. So good things are happening. And all right, so this is Contract Friday. My glasses. And we got some contract things to talk about. So I want to go into some scenarios. And this question was posed to me the other day, and I think it's just a really good one to talk about because it's going to hit a lot of things. So I'm going to open this up and share my screen. And we're going to go through it and just kind of talk through it a little bit. Zoom. Share my screen. What's that noise in the background? You have people in the office there, Deb?
Yes, Bill just came through.
All right. So this is not, oh well, okay. I still need my glasses even though I blew it up. Question 1. Realtor, broker, buyer has checked may assign and may be released from liability. What does that mean? Unmute, Deb, and let's talk back and forth about it.
Yeah, I am. Well, that means that I'm writing up the offer, but I'm going to assign this to somebody and I'm not going to be responsible if I assign it.
Right. And the telltale sign, you got a realtor who is a broker and is the buyer. So who's he looking out for?
He's looking out for himself.
And
yeah,
the may assign and be released from liability really is more about giving me the right to flip it.
Mm-hmm.
And as we get further down through this, I'm going to give you some other examples. So our agent said, I'm recommending a second option of may assign and may not be released from liability. That still doesn't give them the right to not flip it, right? But it just means they're obligated to close. So definitely, I don't like may assign and be released from liability in almost any situation.
And we had a lot of this in 2005 and 6.
Yes. And I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just, I want to know who I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
Right. And this is like one of the things we have to look at when we're analyzing an offer. That's why you can't just have a verbal offer. Right. There's 600 lines in the contract. Oh, it's so much better. 600 lines in the contract, and these little nuances make a difference. Now, I'm going to jump to the bottom because this house, it's a waterfront house, and the waterfront, good waterfront, is going $250 to $300 a foot as a general rule. And this is a 2,700 square foot house. So 2,700 square foot at $250 a foot is $675. This offer is for $575. Mm-hmm. So this buyer is likely going to flip. And who do we represent?
The seller on this.
The seller. And we got a savvy buyer, apparently. He's a broker at least. All right, question 2. It's an offer for $575 with $300,000 in cash down. The offer does not have a proof of funds. Okay.
That's a big deal right there.
You're being judged by the way you conduct your business. And if you submit an offer saying you have $300,000 down, wouldn't it be prudent to demonstrate that you have $300,000 down. The offer does not have proof of funds and it does not have the seller finance addendum. Once again, you're being judged. Check the box. Seller financing. It has a statement under additional terms of seller will hold paper at buyer's option with $300,000 down at a 7% interest rate, interest only for 3 years. That's a nice, if a seller, okay. What do we have to worry about with owner financing, Deborah?
Well, it's got to be done by an attorney. Right now, things have changed on legally. And seller financing, seller can get it back. You know, they may be on the hook. You know, there's many scenarios.
What if the house has a mortgage on it?
Yeah.
What if the house has a mortgage on it?
Oh, okay. Well, if the house has a mortgage on it, puts that mortgage in second place.
Correct.
So if the first mortgage is foreclosed on, the second people are out of luck.
More than that.
Yeah.
You can't, there's a due on sale clause in virtually every mortgage out there, which means if you sell this house, you have to pay off your mortgage. So anybody with a mortgage on their house that's not getting enough cash down to pay off the mortgage is violating the law. The bank could call their loan due and take the house back. So generally there's no seller financing when there's a mortgage, right? So this house, unless this $300,000 now will pay off the seller's mortgage. Lauren had a question and I want to just answer that real fast. Lauren said, even if it's an investor that wants to reassign to his LLC, once again, that's fine. But does he want to assign and be released from liability or not be released from liability? In my opinion, it's not fine to assign and not be. If I'm going to buy it, I'm promising the seller I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to assign it to my LLC. Then if I assign it to my LLC and my LLC doesn't close, I walk away scot-free? No, if my LLC doesn't close, then they come back to me because I bought it. That's the difference there. But it's fine to assignability is great. I'm happy with and be released from liability.
Yeah. And if we're single agents, what's the harm in asking why are they doing the assignment? What's the purpose behind it?
Right. This is
I would
where
do that. I would ask.
communication has to happen.
Yeah.
We should be talking to, not texting. We should be talking to the other agent
Yes.
and say, to find out what their buyer's intentions are. In this case, it's sounds like a sweet deal as long as the mortgage, if any, gets satisfied as closing. So I love that. Owner finance, 7%. What's the seller going to do? If the seller has that much money, where's he going to put it earn 7%? Nowhere for 3 years. That's a great thing.
It's great, but it's, you know, really low for what the market can give him right now.
We're going to get there.
Yeah.
The seller has done seller financing in the past, had both good and bad experiences, but I recommended the seller financing addendum, a proof of funds, and changing the assignability. And I said, good call.
Yeah.
So by the buyer writing in, remember, anything we handwrite in a contract overrides the pre-printed text. So putting in the contract, seller will hold paper at buyer's option. What the hell does that mean?
We have an addendum.
Yeah, there's an addendum for that.
We have an addendum.
If FAR took the time to write an addendum, then we should use their addendum rather than say, seller shall hold paper.
Yeah.
What the hell is that? And remember, you're being judged. So this guy, in my opinion, as me at being judged, is kind of not very savvy. Right. So I'm worried about this transaction because of the way this guy's presenting himself. And that's why it's so important that we as agents present ourselves well. And that's why I'm honored that Century Home Beggins agents are treated so well in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
Another chat here. Okay, gotcha. Oh, cool, Nancy. Lastly, the seller and I both feel if the home was in tip-top condition, it would sell in the high 6s or 7s. It does need a new roof. We inspected yesterday and a few other items. This offer will not require a roof be done. Do you feel we could get more on the open market for a wood frame home, 2,700 square feet, built in the 80s, dock and 10,000 pound boat lift, private pool, and over 200 feet on the water, and an open view in average condition or better, except for the roof? And I said, there's only one way to find out: test the market.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have this conversation again. In my opinion, it is improper to put a house on the market and sell it in a day. Right? People need time. There's something called the competitive bidding environment. And what we do for our clients that they can't do on their own is expose their house to the competitive bidding environment. And I'm going to say this again because I want you to use these words. When you put your listing on the MLS, what happens to it? It gets
It goes up.
syndicated to Realtor.com, Zillow, Trulia, Homes.com, all those sites. And there are literally tens of thousands of people that are on alerts for houses in whatever market we're in and this price range. And when that listing gets syndicated, whatever platform they're on is going to ping them, notify them, hey, there's a new listing on the marketplace. You guys get these, right?
Mm-hmm. We get these.
And then all those, that's why you get so many showings in the first day. It's not like everybody's just, let me go check on MLS day and see if anything new came on. The public is being alerted. And then they're calling their agent or their agent's calling them saying, hey, a new one just hit the market, let's go look at it. So you never get a second chance to make a first impression. That's like the guy that I told you about, Richard, he sold his house. He took an offer at 610. He thought 610 was a good number, but he didn't know that there's a house outside the gate that went under contract at 650 that wasn't as nice as his. And it was this far from closing. And it did close at 650.
It did.
He literally left $40,000 or $50,000 on the table, but he got a discounted commission. No. Shouldn't have happened. Your recommendations, we need to respond today. Thank you for your time. I said, hypothetically, what would the buyer say if the seller said, we're going on the open market for 7 days. If we don't get a better offer, we'll take yours.
Actually, we see that with a lot of the REOs. That they say they're leaving it on the market for 15 days because they're trying to get instead of the investors in, they're trying to get a end user in that house. And they'll take all offers. And, if you've got a house like that, that may be a good idea to do that.
Right. So look at all the little nuances in here. And guys, we are happy to do this. If you have doubts or challenges with your offers and you're not sure if you're representing the client well, that's what we're here for. Debbie, you do review this in a heartbeat. So would Jeff, so would Otis, so would Thomas, so would I. So use us for these things. Just lots of little nuances.
Yeah.
And be strong. I mean, you don't need to second guess yourself on all these things. What is 575, by the way, 2,700 square feet? 575, 2,700 square feet, $212 a foot. There are comps out there at $212 a foot. There are comps out there at $250. There are comps out there at $275. There are comps out there over $300 now in this neighborhood. This isn't Cobia K. So $212 a foot is probably low. And let's debunk another myth. What's wrong with a frame house?
Nothing.
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 My house in the Bahamas was frame. It survived 4 Cat 5 storms with virtually no damage. I lost some screens in one storm. Frame. Everything down there is frame.
Yeah.
So it's your stigma that's saying that a frame house is not valuable. Now, there are a lot of buyers. Up north, most houses are built out of frame.
Yep. All right? The Northeast are all frame.
And there's an argument that frame houses are strong enough to bend where concrete houses are rigid, right? So they shift. I don't know. There is a stigma, though, that frame houses are less valuable. Okay. All right. I want to go to Dotloop and let's look at the seller financing then, just because I don't want to leave you hanging.
Yeah. You have to look at this real motivation too. If they're really doing seller finance for years, with a balloon note, that may be a good option for them. But if they really want to get rid of this house and cash out, it may not be a good option depending on what they want to do with their money.
Correct. And maybe, that 300 down, there's $275,000 at 7% interest for 3 years. 275.
That's a good interest rate.
7%. That's $19,250 a year in interest times 3 years. That's an extra $57,000 the seller is not going to get unless he invests that money someplace else.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the addendum on this because it really does explain everything that if they're going to do a seller finance on this and what they need to do.
Seller financing. So don't write your own addendums. Okay, this is a little more comprehensive than seller will hold paper.
Mhm.
And let me just give you some other things. Okay, so Jim Holloway at Paramount Title will draft notes and mortgages. He'll do it through his law firm and charge for it. But a lawyer has to draw up the note and mortgage. The title company can't do it. But the title company has an attorney that can do it. Warning. Prior to entering into the financing contemplated below, seller and buyer are advised to seek the advice of legal counsel to determine if this financing complies with Dodd-Frank, Wall Street Reform Act, and Consumer Protection Act, and other relevant federal and state requirements. What the hell is that?
I know, but it came into effect in 2014,
Yeah.
changed everything,
Dodd-Frank said, because we used to just let people finance whatever they wanted to,
right?
and people were being taken advantage of with overly high interest rates. So I don't know the rules. Jim Holloway's told them to me, but I don't remember them now. But there's something like you can't charge an overly high interest. Like I couldn't go today and legally charge them 10% interest, even if he agreed to pay it. That would be against Dodd-Frank. Well, let's see. Dodd-Frank has made significant and important changes affecting seller financing on residential properties. Effective January 2014, a seller of residential dwellings who finances the buyer's purchase of seller's residential property may be considered a loan originator under Dodd-Frank and required to comply with certain Truth in Lending Act rules and disclosures unless the seller is entitled to one of the two exclusions set forth in the Dodd-Frank Act. The one property exclusion, where seller finances only one property in any 12-month period, and the seller owns the property and is a natural person, a trust, or an estate, and the seller did not construct or act as the contractor for the construction of the residence on the property in the ordinary course of business. The financing does not result in a negative amortization, and the financing has a fixed rate or an adjustable rate that does not adjust for the first 5 years and is subject to reasonable annual and lifetime rate adjustment limits. All right. So there's the government. We're here to protect you. This is a little more complicated than seller will hold paper.
Yeah. And if you think about it, we're almost at 2% interest rates. They want 7. Could this be above what they're allowed?
Yeah, it could be. That's why it says right up here, warning, all bold, all caps.
Yeah.
Or the three. Now, what if the seller is owner financing another piece of property and he did it 6 months ago? Then he can't owner finance this one, or he'll be considered a loan originator. Or the 3 property exclusion, where the seller finances no more than 3 properties in any 12-month period, and the seller owns the property, the seller did not construct it, the loan was fully amortized. So I guess there's an exclusion for 3.
What's a natural person, Craig? It says it is a natural person.
Or organization.
Yeah, or yeah.
Which they define as LLC partnerships.
Yeah.
So if you're not a natural person, then you would be an LLC, a partnership, a trust. I guess it means just another word for a human being. A seller who finances the buyer's purchase of seller's rental property who meets either of the 2 exclusions outlined may use this seller financing rider. A seller who finances the buyer's purchase of a seller's residential property and who is not exempt from Dodd-Frank should seek the advice of legal counsel regarding the use of the seller financing rider, including modifications or disclosures that may be required by Dodd-Frank prior to completing this rider. And then here's, all you got to say is seller will hold paper. No. Seller agrees to hold a note secured by a first or a second mortgage executed by buyer in the principal amount of at 6% interest. Fully amortized, option A, interest only, option B, a balloon mortgage, option C, an adjustable rate mortgage, option D, with all this other stuff, which I wouldn't recommend. And then pursuant to Dodd-Frank, no other options are permitted. Principal plus interest shall be applied in the event of an adjustable rate mortgage loan initially, and equal monthly, quarterly, or annual payments. And it just goes to how the payments work. If it's a second mortgage, the amount of the first mortgage shall not exceed the amount set forth in paragraph 2C of the contract. and a default in the first mortgage shall, at the option of the holder, constitute a default to the second mortgage.
Yeah.
The purchase money mortgage and mortgage note to seller shall provide for a 30-day grace period in the event of default if a first mortgage, and 15-day grace period if a second mortgage. Shall provide the right of repayment in whole or part without penalty, shall permit acceleration in event of transfer of the real property, shall require all prior liens and encumbrances to be kept in good standing, shall forbid modifications of or future advances under a prior mortgage, shall require the buyer to maintain policies of insurance. No, just say seller shall hold paper. Look at all the things in here. So this addendum is going to require that that note contain all this stuff in there. Or just say seller will hold paper. No. Isn't that silly? There you go.
You know, I was talking about short sales on Wednesday because we came across a property that had 2 mortgages on it because we were going into, cruising where we could see everything in MLS. And that second mortgage, if things foreclose on the first and the second mortgage is owed $100,000, what happens to that second? They may get $3,000, maybe, depending on if the first mortgage will give up money on it. So they're not going to, they could get up to whatever that first mortgage may want to give them, but they're never going to get satisfied their whole amount they're owed on a second mortgage. And
well, that's not necessarily true unless they're really upside down.
Yeah.
If the house is worth 300, the first is 180 and the second is 50, they'll both get paid off.
Yeah.
But if the house is 300 and the first is 250 and the second is 100, then the first will get paid off if they can. And whatever's left over would go to the second.
Yeah.
And if
So
not enough is left over, then the second just has to
Second
negotiate
screwed.
first. The first needs the second to sign off.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an escrow dispute.
yeah.
Correct, Regina. Taxes, John, the taxes are owed by the property owner. So if they transfer title to the property on November 27th, then the taxes for November 28th are owed by the buyer, the owner, the new owner.
Yeah, it's a regular closing.
Cool. All right. A couple more things here. Oh, this is just interesting. Kathleen sent me, I get Inman News too, but Kathleen likes to read these articles and then send it to me. And I'm not sharing my screen. I should turn that off. This has some interesting ramifications. The Department of Justice sues the National Association of Realtors, alleging illegal restraints on realtor competition. God. Proposed settlement would require the trade group to repeal or change several rules the U.S. Department of Justice deems anti-competitive. I've got a couple of assumptions I can take out of this one. By the way, when I was in Chicago, I walked right by the Realtor building. They got like a 20-story building in downtown Chicago, the National Association of Realtors headquarters.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's a lot of, I don't want to say censorship. NAR came out with a clear cooperation policy, which tried to make all realtors play nice in the sandbox. And there's a lot of realtors that don't like to play nice in the sandbox that says NAR is nosing in their business and creating anti-competitive situations. So that loud group went to the Department of Justice, and now the Department of Justice is saying your actions are anti-competitive. If a broker wants to go in there and take a listing and not share it with the fellow brokers, why can't they? And I don't know how NAR is going to react to this because NAR is a membership organization that you subscribe to rules in order to become a member. So it's not like they're forcing the public to abide by their rules. They're forcing the membership to abide by their rules.
Yeah.
So as you read down the article, it says, at the same time they filed the suit, they also, what is it? The federal agency filed a settlement at the same time as it filed the suit, requiring NAR to repeal or change several of its rules. So this is going to be interesting to see if NAR wants to back down and say, okay, we'll change our rules, or if they're going to stand up and say, bullshit, this is our organization. These are our members. And if they would be a member of our organization, they have to play by our rules. If they don't want to play by our rules, then don't join our association, which means you can't have our MLS. So it's going to be a arm wrestling situation here to see how that chimes in.
It's going to be very interesting this next year with all the changes going on.
Okay, let's talk about, John just said, if seller is just holding the note, then this is a bit vague. That's why we need lawyers involved, because a note is a promise to pay. What is the mortgage by definition? It's a pledge of collateral, right? I promise to pay. Okay, well, if you don't pay, then what happens? Sorry. No, then I foreclose on the mortgage. The mortgage is the collateral backing up your promise to pay. So when we looked at the financing addendum, it said note and mortgage. Seller agrees to hold a note secured by a first or a second purchase money mortgage. I promise to pay and I pledge this collateral. And this collateral is subordinate to a first mortgage, or it is a first mortgage. First mortgage means it's in first position. Second means it's second position. And there are third mortgages too. Very interesting. Okay. Thomas sent this out and I thought it was relevant for all of us. Move my photo screen over here. As we approach the holiday season, please don't forget to call, text, and email your clients and prospects, wishing them and their families happy holidays. You may also want to send your past clients and future clients holiday cards. Sending your past and future clients a text, email, or card for their birthdays and anniversaries goes a long way. Make it happen. Subtle reminder, but really good advice, guys.
Good advice. Yeah. So we had a offer yesterday on a house we've had listed for 1 month. It's a net condo, pretty good shape and overpriced. And the agent and I talked about it when she listed it, and I just told her, we'll take it, but let the sellers know it may stay on the market a while, because in Kings Point we do have some inventory. And so we got an offer yesterday with $10,000 less, but it's cash, closing in 2 weeks. Right, with $10,000 down, short inspection period, and the seller decided he wanted to really counter back on this, and it was a knee-jerk reaction immediately, because it's like, and what was done, there was verbal that came across to the agent, and I said, wait before you talk to the seller until you get it in writing, because they were going to send it in writing.
Well, you'd be violating your agency, because your seller instructed you to withhold verbal offers in the listing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And here's the reason why. She decided to talk to the seller and was so excited, but they started talking. The offer came in at $2,000 less than what was said verbally. Oh my. Oh my. Didn't make any of us look good. So knee-jerk reaction, they wanted to respond back immediately with a lot higher. And I'm sitting there going, this is a really great offer. It's not going to appraise anyway at the price we set it on. And we knew that. And I said, let's take a few minutes, step back, because it's cash. It's going to close. You're not going to have carrying costs through half of December, because it's closing December 11th. And you're not going to have the condo fees, except for 11 days into December. You're going to be saving quite a bit of money and cost to carry, with taxes and stuff. And so they, after going back and forth a little while, we ended up getting under contract within $2,000 of the offer. And which, I did ask them to seriously think, just sign off. I like the easiest, shortest way. Sign off. This is great, because if we wait and this buyer runs away because they don't like what we're countering back, then we're on the market again for maybe another month, and we're getting in a conventional offer. And, with another 45 days out. So they ended up settling at $2,000 more than the offer was, which was really great. And so the sellers did sit back. They wanted to negotiate a little bit, and we were fortunate enough this buyer didn't run away. My biggest concern was there's other places out there right now similar to this that they can just go buy. They were number 9 on the list. There was 9 more that were just like theirs that were cheaper. They had a little water view. And so it's just verbal offers. I know the sellers instruct us, it's in our listing agreement. Please hesitate before you decide to blab to your seller. Guess what we got coming in until you get it in writing in front of you.
But see, this all boils down to communication.
That's right.
Right. And the way we teach, and I hope you guys will register and sign up for Next Level University, especially when we go through the listing process. The Beggins listing system goes through all these situations and then culminates with the seller's cost estimator, where the seller chooses the price. Right. And we guide them and tell them, and we empower, educate, and encourage them. But when these situations come up, and I know some people are jerkish, right? Yeah. But that house sat on the market in this market for 30 days. Yeah. That means it's not priced right. Right? In this market.
Right. Yeah.
And you said there's 9 other properties similar competing with it that are all
cheaper.
So this house might be nicer than the rest, but the public is rejecting it. Mm-hmm. It probably received a lot of showings, so the realtor community accepted it. Yeah. So even how much was that offer?
The offer was $10,000 less than the asking price.
How much was the asking price?
Okay, the asking price was $198, and it came in at $180.
All right, so watch this.
$187. Yeah.
If you're getting showings and no offers, write this down. If you're getting showings and no offers, the public is rejecting your price.
That's right.
And we find that typically a 5% price reduction will cause it to move.
There's 5% right there.
Is that exactly what it is?
Yeah.
If you're getting no showings and no offers, the realtor community is rejecting your price. Yeah. And you typically need a 10% price reduction to get attention.
Absolutely.
So if you're getting no showings and no offers, the realtor's saying, it's not worth my time to even show that. It's ridiculous. If you're getting showings, it means the realtors are showing it, but the buyer's saying, yeah, I like it, but it's not right.
Yeah. I mean, we need to really help our sellers understand, even in this market, it's a seller's market. Properly priced homes sell. Overpriced homes will sit on the market. Yes. And we're struggling right now with 2 more listings that I know of that we took them overpriced. Single family homes here, there's 38 for sale in all of Sun City Center. It'll probably go even overpriced because there's nothing. I've got a pool home right now that we've had 5 showings on. I thought it was going to be 20,000 overpriced, and we'll probably be under contract by the end of today.
There's only 38 homes for sale in Sun City Center.
Yes.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Yeah. There's about 60 condos. That's it. And I know we're dropping like a rock right now, but so whatever's on the market, we're still the cheapest probably in Hillsborough County. We still have houses under 200,000, which is shocking. Yeah. Because the rest of the world doesn't. But they're going very, very quickly. Condos, on the other hand, are staying on the market a little longer. We have more inventory on the condos, depending on the price ranges.
Yeah. Regina, you probably know the answer to this. Regina says, do we have, or are we able to get from Century 21 Online or somewhere individualized, personalized Century 21 holiday cards? I'm sure there is.
Yes, there is. And actually, yes, there is. And I will send you the link. It is in 21 Online. There is, gosh, I can't remember it off the top of my head. I will send it out. I'll send it to you.
It's Smith Printing or one of those vendors, I think.
Yeah, yeah. But it is in 21 Online that we can do holiday cards with. We can also do in Business Builder holiday drip campaigns and everything else. So think about that too.
All right, Deb, I wanted to have you sent this to me yesterday. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
So
I dipped into the past.
You did.
I dug it out. It's something we used to use forever. And Craig, I think you may have created it a long time ago.
Actually, I did, but I had a guy, I didn't know Excel that well at the time. A guy named Kevin was in our South Tampa office way back then, and he did this for us.
Ah, I love this because we're about the numbers, guys. We know that if you do enough contacts, what's going to happen. So this is a great way to set your goals and stick to it.
Express Docs is where you find it in 21 Online.
Express Docs. Yes. Thank you. Yes. So this is, you're going to plug in, and this is a plug and play. This means you plug in the numbers up on top that are highlighted in the yellow. How much do you want to earn this year? $100,000. What is your estimated commission split with an average this year? You're going to plug that in, 70%. What's your estimated average sale price? It's a big deal because this is going to set up where you're going to farm and what price range you're going to go after. You want to go after $400,000 homes? Please do that. The estimated transaction commission with an average sale, we're still at 3%, probably at 80%, 85% in MLS, guys. So plug in that 3%. So what is this going to do? This is going to automatically calculate how many contacts annually, quarterly, monthly, and daily you're going to have to do. So this really chunks it down to what do I need to do? I need to make 11.5 contacts a day about. That is doable. That is 20 minutes of work of making, contacts a day. But
I'll
you've
talk
got
about the causal relationship, because guys, it really is. We keep saying this, talk to more people, talk to more people.
yes,
We used to say 20 contacts a day, 20 contacts a day, 20 contacts a day. And 20 contacts a day is really 70 or 80 attempts in order to reach 20 people a day,
yes, yeah,
right?
yes,
So now we just dumbed it down to conversations. You gotta have 11 conversations a day to
yeah,
make $100,000. But that's if you're selling $400,000 homes. If we're selling $300,000 homes,
yeah. Can you change that? Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
then we got to do 14 contacts a day. And if we're selling $250,000 homes, we got to make 17 contacts a day.
You guys can pick. What price range do you want to be in?
There's definitely a choice,
Yeah.
right?
But this breaks it down to how many listing appointments do you have to go on? Our ratio is 3 to 1. So you've got to go on 3 appointments to get 1 listing. That's probably still true today, Craig.
I read somebody's goals they sent me last week, and they wanted to make $60,000 this year. I'd be happy if I made about $60,000.
Okay.
$60,000 at an average price. This guy is probably more in the $400,000 range.
Ah,
6 contacts a day to make 60 grand. Guys, 60 grand is 50% more,
yeah.
50% more than the average wage in Hillsborough County. And most of our agents aren't making 60 grand. And to make 60 grand in the 400,000, you have to talk to 6.7 people a day. Oh my gosh.
I mean, this gets, easy. And if you've got to focus on your price ranges, focus on the better ones. I don't know what that is. I've got a message from the training room. Okay, so you've got to take, you have to go on 3 listing appointments to get 1 listing. We're all about the listings right now. You need to be focusing solely on the listings, because from listings, everything else flows. You'll get your buyers. If you're focusing on listings in the $400,000 price range, guess where your buyers are going to be in? Your buyers are going to be in that price range too.
Yep.
So you want to focus on the listings and focus on those listing appointments, because you will get buyers. And right now, 1 listing will probably bring you 5 buyers. I'm guessing at this, but I know there's a ton of buyers out there.
If you can keep them on the market long enough before turning them pending.
Well, there's that. Yeah.
Once they go pending, they go off the active list and you don't get calls anymore.
Yeah.
All right. So Puma built this website for us called be3agents.com, which is the website that sources the app. And Puma just typed in, check out my business planning thing and be3agents.com. So let's go through this too.
Okay.
My microphone's in the way of my keyboard. Let's see. Next. Really? Okay. At the end of the quarter, oh, I like this. It's based on a quarter. What do you want to experience? Vacation to the Keys, an investment property, a new car. I want to experience an investment property. Be better if I spelled it properly. And so Anna will have to go back and fix it. How much cash will that experience or purchase require? $100,000. It's $1 million. How much does your normal lifestyle cost on a monthly basis? $6,000. This is the total income needed at the end of the quarter to accomplish your goal. We have $118,000. Enter your average deal commission. I'm going to say $10,000.
It's 100. There you go.
Then you need 11.8 deals this quarter to make $118,000.
It's 4 a month.
Wow.
4 a month.
Does that seem possible?
Yeah. 1 a week. We have many agents doing 1 deal a week.
Oh. 3.93 is the number of deals needed per month. 0.91 is the number of deals needed per week. So less than 1 deal a week.
Mhm.
Select your conversion rate. How many appointments will turn into deals?
Ah,
I'm going to say 50% because I'm going to qualify mine really good.
Yeah.
This is the number of appointments we need per month for the next quarter. 7.86 appointments per month. This is the number of appointments we need per week. 1.97 appointments a week.
2 appointments
Oh.
a week.
That's it.
Is that doable? That's very doable.
Do you believe you can accomplish this goal? Yes. Which one best describe you? I'm committed to accomplishing, I'm interested in accomplishing, or I'm indifferent about accomplishing. Ooh.
Oh.
Select your office. Submit. Now I bet Chris Reed's going to get a copy of this. Select what type of coaching you're looking for. Real estate coaching, marketing coaching. And then here's a calendar if you want to meet with Mike. How about that?
Awesome.
And a calendar if you want to meet with Jeff. Pretty slick there, Puma. Pretty slick. All right, but I like that. I like it better than this. This is just so old school because I used to do like detailed business plans, and we'd get really, really close to hitting them. But I wanted to cover the points here. Listing appointments 3 to 1. Why would we say there's a 3 to 1 ratio? You got to go on 3 listing appointments to get 1.
Because you're not always going to get everyone.
Yeah, either they're not going to choose you or you're not going to choose them.
Yep.
So it's like I'm telling the managers now, I want you to hire slow and fire fast.
Yep.
You need to interview hard and not take every listing unless the seller's reasonable. Although in this market, I'd probably take them anyway and beat them down a little bit.
Yeah.
Listings taken 3 to 1. Listings expired. Some listings do expire, not many in this market. And then there's a ratio of listings sold. A listing sold is a listing of yours that somebody else sells. And then there's buyer interviews, 5 to 1 on buyers. That's just such an ineffective use of time when you can get 3 to 1 on listings. So 5 buyers to get 1 close. Buyer broker agreements. We're using the handshake agreement in place of that. Once again, next level university, we will dive into the Beggins buying system, which will help you close more buyers and identify the difference between a buyer and a looker. Buyer showings 3 to 1 closed because you're going to interview some buyers that you're just not ready yet. Throw them back in the pipeline and let them soak around.
Yeah, and they may not be ready. They may not even be qualified. And we're getting probably a third of the buyers out there right now aren't qualified because of COVID. They've lost jobs. They've done, they've had life changes.
Yep. And if you're not engaging with their loan officers, you're making a huge mistake. Regina, Deb sent this out to you, to your office yesterday, so you should have it in your email. And Puma's one was the be3agents.com.
Yeah, we need some. I like that site. This gives you a piece of paper to put in front of you, actually, or put it on your desktop to really look at on a daily basis.
Now, I want to point out something else to you. There's commission here. If you are taking 2.5% commissions, look at the difference. Now it went from 6 contacts to 8. So this is important to me. I'm seriously, if you go to MLS and whatever search you're looking at, add commission paid out as one of your search fields in the list and sort, and you'll see, I think you were right, Deb. I think about 85% are paying 3%.
They are. And
you guys all know that you resent when somebody pays you less than 3. Yet some of you will go out there and do that. And you ask me for permission. I typically say no. And then we say no because we have a reputation as a company. And the company wants to be known as, we want to do what's best for our seller, which is get all the salespeople working to sell our listing. So that's a no-no. I don't even want to put it on the screen.
Commission is just an objection. They're going to ask because they feel like they need to.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff has had the best answer. No, next question.
No, any other questions? You got it. Why did I check this? Oh, I just want to mention I attended a relocation call yesterday too. Katarina Hellenkamp is the president of Cardis Broker Network, or Realogy's Broker Network. Realogy Broker Advantage Network. How about that? And this woman is sharp, and she's announcing her plans, because they lost a lot of business when USAA left the field, and they had super, super, super big plans for AARP, and the marketing was going to go on, and it was due to launch mid-March, and that's when COVID hit. So they delayed the launch, and they did a softer launch like in July. So she said, guys, we had no idea what was going to happen, but you get ready, because our relationship with AARP is going to be amazing. And AARP has 37 million members versus USAA's 13 million members. And they're going to give us access to their database for marketing. So she announced all kinds of really big plans. And I missed the first part because I was doing something else. So I didn't hear the whole thing, but that was the gist, is hold on. We have got new companies. We're on the market. We're going to pick up a couple of other smaller RMCs, and we're going to grow and get you your volume back. So relocation people, stay tuned. It's going to be fun.
Awesome.
Yes. So that is everything I had on my list today. I hope you guys got some value out of that. It is Q4. We're about halfway through, a little more than halfway through. So most of these efforts you're doing now are for next year. And I really want you to stay focused, guys. Really, we have some really good things going on. This is like our fourth really strong month. So you guys are nailing it, but we have a decision to make. And I like that little sheet. Let me get off my sharing. Why are there two of you? You're on your cell phone and you're logged in twice.
Really? I just logged in once today. That's probably why there's no echoes, is there?
There was, some people are saying there was an echo, but
yeah.
Interesting.
That's weird.
I'm going to, does that work?
Yeah, I'm only showing one login.
Oh, I just kicked you out. So you had two.
Okay.
Okay. So on that sheet we were just looking at, where you had to do, 6 contacts a day to make $60,000. That's not a lot. And you can do that even with the holidays approaching. Thanksgiving's next week. So we're closed half day on Wednesday. We're closed all day Thursday. Friday's Black Friday. So there's 3 days you guys can choose to screw off. So we have a 2-day work week next week. Most of the real estate industry has a 2-day work week like next week. So what could you do?
You could work. You could door knock. You could farm. You could go talk to some people on Friday. You could go to the mall.
Go to the mall. I mean, the mall, I don't know.
Wear your name tag.
Yeah, wear your name tag wherever you go.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. Happy Friday. Have a great, safe weekend. Do remember, I mean, it's weird. I was in Chicago. I think I told you the streets are boarded up. The governor just shut down all of Chicago again. So all restaurants are closed. All servers are out of work. We have to be responsible. I Ubered to town last night and I wore my mask in the Uber car and that was fine. The guy was good. I had to wear my mask into the restaurant, which is silly. And then we sat at a table, take our mask off, and you go to the bathroom, you got to put your mask on to walk around. But, we want to control the spread of the virus because we don't want our government shutting us down again. All right. So just be responsible in that area and don't touch people and all that stuff.
Wear your mask at home if you have 20 people in your house.
Jeff said there's spiking eruptions on the beaches going on. And now we're taking temperatures of people before they walk into the office. And we don't want to get to that level. So be responsible and Absolutely. Have fun at the same time and get some goals and let's proceed. Thank you guys. Happy weekend. We're always here for you, as you know.
Have a great day.
I got a GTAR arbitration this morning. Whoop, whoop, on Zoom.
Boy.